Program is sponsored by Happy Science.
Hello and thank you for accepting our invitation to happiness. Ryuho Okawa is a global visionary, renowned spiritual leader, and international best-selling author. With his deep spiritual insight, wisdom, and compassion, Okawa is committed to guiding people to true happiness and create a better world. To accomplish this, he founded Happy Science Group in Japan in 1986, which is now a global movement in over 100 countries. His vision and message to the world we will be exploring ways to attain true happiness from a spiritual perspective and how you can create a better world starting from within. Today's topic is based on Okawa's multi-million seller book. It is an essential guide for a lifetime of growth, success, and triumph. This book has touched millions across the globe in countries like China, Brazil, India, Thailand, the Middle East, and Germany, among many others. Invincible Thinking is now published in the United States and will create a new wind of philosophy. Just as Okawa says in the preface, Invincible Thinking is a powerful drill that penetrates through the rock. It's the dynamite that opens a crack in the mountain of difficulties. In this episode, we will be discussing what it takes to become a person who can take complete control of their success and destiny, no matter what.
Effort to do what you want to do, but actually you have to believe in God. He's the one who controls our destiny.
I think, I believe in, what is it, willpower? I believe in, what is that called? Power of will, something like that. I don't believe in predestination. So yeah, I believe that the choices I make influence how my life will turn out, yeah.
Yes, 100% you can. I mean, there's examples all over the world of people that have come from nothing, Even my mum, she's an example of that. She's come from literally nothing. She's built herself up. So that's her controlling her own destiny. Where she came from, she's probably one of the few people that have made it to a certain point in their life where they can feel happy with. So yeah, 100% you can.
Fate. Let's hear from Okawa.
When someone asks, "What does Happy Science teach?" or "What happens if I become a member?" one way to answer this would be, it teaches you that there is no such thing as defeat in life. In a sense, the book Invincible Thinking clearly reveals the significance of my philosophy. Are very bright, positive, and constructive. Even so, this is not merely positive thinking. Invincible thinking includes self-reflection and is established as a philosophy to human perfection. This is what is unique about it. In other words, the difference between the wide thinking is a way of thinking whereby one tries to see the positive aspect of things. I need to choose my words carefully. But with positive thinking, people are inclined to lose their empathy toward others, or become people who cannot realize their own faults and failures, or have a tendency to ignore those shortcomings. Therefore, even if you achieve self-realization with positive thinking, your life may not necessarily be blessed by heaven. In a sense, positive thinking can be considered as a way of thinking that pursues the sweetness, such as in sugary confectionaries, that pleases everyone. Invincible thinking is not quite the same as this. It is a way of thinking that focuses more on pursuing a savory taste. It is like a flavor of a well-brewed you may gradually become bored of it. However, the savory taste of invincible thinking is one that people never tire of. Since self-reflection, it allows you to learn from every chapter of your life and continues to help you grow. In this sense, it is a way of thinking that you will never grow tired of.
With invincible thinking, there is no such thing as defeat in life. All of our hard work and efforts lead to the improvement of our souls, and nothing ever ends in vain. Invincible thinking is one of Okawa's original philosophies, which goes one step further than positive thinking, as invincible thinking allows us to learn from both success and failure. Let's continue with more from Okawa.
The true nature of human beings is not, by any means, the physical body itself that is now living. Our life on earth ends after several decades. This spiritual being always detaches from its physical body, leaves its form as a human being, and becomes a thoughts. So what you think is actually what you are. Most people tend to define themselves in terms of their names, the clothes they wear, their family status, or perhaps the name of their company and their position at work. But actually, our true form is what appears after we have abandoned all of that. The truth is that the content of your own thoughts is, in fact, your very self. This is one of the forms of enlightenment at its entry level. Will find their life unfolding in a completely new and different way. Yet, most people restrict themselves on their own. They unknowingly think of themselves as a loser. However,
Sorry about that. I'm going to change the data. 1 second, please.
thinking is one that people never tire of. Since invincible thinking includes both positive thinking and self-reflection, it allows you to learn from every chapter of your life and continues to help you grow. In this sense, it is a way of thinking that you will never grow tired of. In other words, you could also say that invincible thinking is a method of shaping our future in all weathers.
With invincible thinking, there is no such thing as defeat in life. All of our hard work and efforts lead to the improvement of our souls, and nothing ever ends in vain. Invincible thinking is one of Okawa's original philosophies, which goes one step further than positive thinking, as invincible thinking allows us to learn from both success and failure. Let's continue with more from Okawa.
The true nature of human beings is not, by any means, the physical body itself that is now living. Our true nature is the soul, the spiritual being. When our life on earth ends after several decades, this spiritual being always detaches from its physical body, leaves its form as a human being, and becomes a completely free existence. The world of spirits is a world of thoughts, so what you think is actually what you are. Most people tend to define themselves in terms of their names, the clothes they wear, their family status, or perhaps the name of their company and their position at work. But actually, our true form is what appears after we have abandoned all of that. The truth is that the content of your own thoughts is, in fact, your very self. This is one of the forms of enlightenment at its entry level. People who have discovered this fact while living will find their life unfolding in a completely new and different way. Yet, most people restrict themselves on their own. They unknowingly think of themselves as a loser. Of course, everyone will experience a few setbacks and failures within the several decades of their life. This is quite normal. However, it is up to you whether you will learn something from the failure and stand up again, or brand yourself with a failure as your seal, or a negative inferiority complex. It is your choice. Among my teachings is something called invincible thinking. It is a way of thinking to always win. This emphasizes the importance of always finding a way to move forward in life, no matter what circumstances or result you find yourself in. So, when you attain victory, instead of becoming conceited or arrogant, you must begin to aim for the next victory and work hard or make effort to strive diligently with humility. This is one aspect of invincible thinking. Another aspect of it is how to handle situations when you confront failures or setbacks. There are many ways to deal with them, but the method that is most effective and also beneficial for your life is to learn lessons from those defeats. It is to grasp lessons unique to you and discover the seeds for your next opportunity. Not many seeds for future success can be found in your past successes. Since you are aware of what to do in areas you have already achieved success, you tend to be clueless about what more to do. However, you can definitely find seeds for your next success from your failures. People learn many things from failing. That is where hints are hidden, and what we must do next becomes apparent. When we face something that makes us experience failures and setbacks in this world, or something that is against our will happens, it is important to carefully search the seeds for our next success from within those occurrences and nurture those seeds. This is the method to succeed in life, in any era, and in any job. When people simply succeed, they often feel exalted and end up not learning anything at all from the experience. Then they tend to praise themselves and think, "My method was absolutely right," and become conceited. As a result, even if they continue to grow after that, their pace of growth may slow down, or they may wind up falling into an unforeseen trap. Success is often followed by setbacks and suffering. However, for those who have seriously considered and found their way to move forward in life, failures become a precious lesson. This is how you create your own personal guidebook. Everyone has their own workbook of life, and the questions or problems are revealed one by one, page by page, in your life. In this workbook, you can find the next problem you will face and the secrets to your life in this incarnation. Everything that you think of as suffering right now and that are troubling you are, in fact, also educational tools to develop your soul.
As we have been repeatedly expressing throughout the program, the core essence of a human being is the soul. We all have eternal life, and in order to evolve and refine our souls, we repeat the cycle of reincarnation. Invincible thinking is a method and way of life which improves our souls through both successes and failures. However, it is worthy to note that there is more to be learned from failures than success. Our souls accumulate lessons like a snowball, growing bigger and bigger. Through experiencing all these lessons and becoming a person that can say, "I'm happy," rain or shine, can we become truly invincible.
I wrote the book Invincible Thinking when I was 32 years old. I wrote this book at the end of the second year and the start of the third year after Happy Science was established. In fact, this book was compiled from 4 seminars I conducted weekly in front of about 1,000 people. I remember it was every Wednesday night that I gave seminars on invincible thinking, and these have been transcribed and compiled into a book. I published this book when I was 32 years old, and it sold over 2 million copies that year in Japan. With this book, we became acknowledged at a national level. This book is actually quite powerful. It has been translated and read in countries all over the world. It is a major concern for us as a religion that there are countries which are generally atheist or materialist, But even in countries where there is no belief in God or Buddha, the people accept and use the teachings of invincible thinking. For instance, this book was quickly translated into Chinese and is being studied there. So then, what is the key to invincible thinking? It's not just about affirming an optimistic perspective all the time. On the other hand, neither is it a way of thinking based on a negative perspective, so often embodied in the Christian belief of original sin. Although this may trouble people of the Catholic faith who believe that humans are born sinful, invincible thinking is not based on such a philosophy. Invincible thinking is based on the philosophy that we are essentially a soul that dwells in a human body. It means the three-dimensional world in which you currently live in is not the real world. You are a soul that originally lived in the real world, the world beyond the fourth dimension that extends to the ninth dimension. As the world goes through changes, you are born time and again with a different nationality, occupation, or gender to gain new experiences each time. If you think that this physical world is the only true world, it is easy to distinguish between happiness and unhappiness. However, if you know that your life is not limited to this world, and that you will eventually return to the real world, you will know that you are born with a new name, personality, or gender to undergo soul training. In living as a completely new person, with a new body, you gain new experiences for your soul's growth. This is the starting point of what constitutes our life. If you accept the idea that the other world does exist, and that people return to that world after they die, then you can perceive this world as being a school for your soul, and that everything you experience is allowed to exist for the purpose of education. If you are to think in that way, then you mustn't fall into making the mistake of blaming your parents or the company you work for the unfortunate circumstances you find yourself in. There are ups and downs in the economy, various social changes, including the changing of the president of a country. A president can make mistakes in governance and cause misfortune. If you have a good president, the economy can recover. So I'm not saying that outside influences don't exist. They certainly do. However, no matter what the times you live in, you are the only one who can protect your own mind. Never forget that no matter how turbulent the currents of the river of fate, it is you at the helm who is steering your ship. For example, you can make mistakes at work. You can make mistakes in love. You can fall ill or fail an exam. Within the many things that can happen, you can give in to despair, fall into self-destructive behavior, and become unable to believe in yourself or others. Lose your will to do anything and feel that your future holds nothing but darkness. However, you must hold firmly to the belief that in fact you alone are responsible for viewing your life in that way. If you assign the cause of misfortune to, for example, original sin, the sins committed by your far distant ancestors, you will not be saved anytime soon. The concept of original sin does have its merits. It can be helpful in building faith or getting people to reflect on their mistakes and repent. But original sin cannot explain everything about how you are today. Now, what is the essence of invincible thinking? This world is a school for your lifelong education. So it is essential to generate positive results from both your failures and successes. If you succeed, then celebrate and be happy. Rejoice in your success and the efforts you made toward it. But instead of becoming full of yourself in your success, share the joy of your success with others. Work at building humility and continue your efforts so as not to fall into the trap of making mistakes by being too conceited. If you suffer a failure, know that hidden within it is the seed of future success. Accept it as the will of heaven, the will of God, and try to understand that you are being taught by this experience. It is very important to learn the lessons. Those who live with this attitude can declare that there is no such thing as defeat in life. If you live with an attitude of turning everything you encounter in life into material to refine yourself and into the seeds of your growth, then you can walk none other than the way to success. You can also build a stronger self. Having a positive mindset like this will make your life much fuller and lead you to the way to success. I believe that trying to overcome your struggles and difficulties without making excuses is the way to a victorious life. I strongly believe it is most important to see everything as the seed of something positive for the future.
There are no original sins. Instead, God has given us 100% free will because He trusts that we will choose good over evil. To be happy, we need to stop making excuses and have the fortitude to take full responsibility and control of our own life and fate. When we succeed, maintain a humble attitude, be willing to make further efforts, and give back to the people around us, our current success will become the seeds of success for the future. On the contrary, when we fail, we should humbly accept the will of heaven and learn the lessons. With this attitude, there is no such thing as defeat in life, and we can easily win against fate. Let us live with the powerful attitude of turning everything we experience into materials for refining our souls and building a stronger self. Please remember that invincible thinking is the key to winning against fate, and the power to change our destiny is in our hands. At Happy Science, you can listen to Okawa's other lectures related to today's topic. We also offer many seminars to help you change your destiny, as well as ritual prayer for success and prayer for economic prosperity. For more information, please contact a Happy Science location near you.
If you would like to learn more about Okawa and the teachings of Happy Science, visit invitationtohappiness.org or call us at 929-323-4737. Here at New York Temple, you'll find all of Okawa's publications and video lectures. We are here to support you in building a bright future. Come join us for weekly Sunday workshops and weekday guided meditations. Your happiness is our mission.
Once again, thank you for accepting our invitation to happiness. Join us next week for the topic God's Justice. See you next time. Thank you for accepting our invitation to happiness.
The truth is that who you are is being revealed to you for the first time in history.
I love this book, Invincible Thinking. This book, it teaches you how to attain true victory in life. And what I mean by that is it's a spiritual victory as well as a physical victory, because our happiness in this world and the other world are connected. So I really strongly recommend this book, Invincible Thinking, and plant great seeds of happiness in your mind and live a life of true blessedness.
The preceding program was sponsored by Happy Science.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much.
The following program is sponsored by...
Sorry earlier for the technical difficulties, but like Invincible Thinking, I will use it as material for my growth. So today, we are doing a in-depth study of Invincible Thinking. And this book, Master wrote when he was 32 years old. At least in the first 3 years of Happy Science. It is such a great philosophy, a vital philosophy, especially for this year, more than ever, because as we all know, there is this pandemic going on. There is a recession coming up. So this kind of thinking is so, so important, more than ever. And I really hope that from today, you will read this as a manual to really get back to, or bring back hope into this world. And I want to introduce 2 other books that I use as material to further study our Invincible Thinking, which is The Laws of Steel, which is this year's Law Series book. And it's no coincidence that Master put this one out in 2020, because this is a year that we must become resilient. As the subtitle says, living a life of resilience, confidence, and prosperity. So I just can't stress enough the importance of really studying the Law Series book every year as your manual for that year, and taking on new enlightenment that is being asked of you that year and every year. And thirdly, I chose this book, the tips for self-help in the modern age, Spiritual Messages of Samuel Smiles. Are you familiar with him? Okay, he's a British author and doctor about 100 years ago. And you can read in this book or watch the spiritual messages, but this book, Master apparently read every single morning, every day. And he said, if you want to see the results of someone that put this theory in practice, look at his life. Look at Master's life. So we can see how powerful the self-help thinking is, because we're reaching a point where we're entering an age of 10 billion human beings on this planet Earth. So that's a lot of people. And unless we think of ways to really help ourselves, it's going to become difficult. And I think that's where a lot of the conflicts come about in this world, in politics, in health, in many different arenas. But if we have this self-help thinking, which Samuel Smiles proved to help bring the Industrial Revolution in England at that time, we can see that helping yourself will help the world. We're not here to just receive help. We're here to grow. So to have the self-help thinking will ultimately help you in building your own life the way you want it to be, and being someone that doesn't receive help but gives help. And Happy Science is a place that produces people that gives help to others. So this thinking, I think, is going to be, or Master does say it's going to be the key to open our next era, especially because of, we're entering a recession time. So this is the time to really think about what you can do, how you can do something in your own situation right now, starting with what you have. So let us begin with the PowerPoint. For some reason, it's not showing up. One second. I don't know why it's not showing up. I haven't been up here in a very long time. I'm sorry. Sorry.
Let's see. Oh, just this.
Yeah, but I don't want to show my
Oh,
notes.
I see.
There's a way to do it.
Mirror, no.
Maybe. Is that not playing? No.
It's not showing. Maybe I'll ask Ari. I'm not a Mac user.
Okay, so sorry. Do you know how to play so I don't show this part, but just like,
Yeah.
okay.
So it should be. Is that what you wanted?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, thank you. Okay, sorry everyone. So, as Master said, invincible thinking is the mindset to grow through both success and failure. And he notes that you can learn more from failure than from success, right? And in this book, the main message is We shall never be truly defeated in life. But why is that? Why do you think that? Because as Master mentions, this world is just a training ground. Everything is for our growth. Every single thing. So, in the preface, he says, Invincible thinking is a powerful attitude that enables us to triumph under any circumstance. It helps us learn from both success and failure and grow into capable and exceptional leaders. Invincible thinking embraces the philosophy of positive thinking and the principle of self-reflection, which together help us shape our future as we face all the circumstances life brings. And in this time, we are in a time that we have a lot of time to do self-reflection, right? So not only positive thinking is going to get us through this difficult situation, we have to do self-reflection. Invincible thinking is not blind positive thinking because it includes self-reflection, which means you can truly transform yourself. It's not to ignore what's around us, because what happens around us affects us to a certain degree, depending on what you allow into your minds. But through the principle of self-reflection, we can truly remove the rust and become who we are supposed to be and shape our future. And again, the laws of steel is so important because this book further states nothing you experience in life is a waste. Nothing. And that really coincides with invincible thinking. And I thought, wow, since Master put out the laws of steel in 2020, it really has so many overlapping tones to invincible thinking. So I really feel that invincible thinking, these 3 books will really help you out this year. And Master gives the analogy of how Napoleon Hill used to say, turn life's lemons into lemonade, right? So anything that's thrown at you that's sour or uncomfortable, think of ways to turn it into lemonade. And he also says the practice of looking at past failures, and he gives the analogy of not to saw sawdust. Do you know that analogy? When you cut a piece of wood, right, the sawdust falls to the floor. But some people who still think about their failures over and over again are still trying to saw the sawdust. It's already been cut. There's nothing more you can do with it. So just move on, use what the pieces that you've cut and build something, right? So we have to, there's really great practices in this book to help you do what you can right now. And he mentions that anyone feels great when they're successful, right? But it really depends on your attitude of when you fail. How do you get yourself back up? Mm-hmm.
Can I just comment for 1 second?
Sure.
About dwelling on the negative, that we all find ourselves dwelling on the negative and replaying it. And to get out of that, you have to just focus on the moment.
Yes.
I think the same applies with positive. I mean, it's like how many times can you spike the football? You just can't. The same applies for success.
Mm-hmm.
You just can't dwell on the success.
Right.
You just gotta, accept it
Mm-hmm.
and just remain in the moment.
Right. And true prosperity, as defined in this book, is a series of successes, not just that one success. Right. And he mentions to think about your batting average. Every time you do something, don't count that as a one, defining moment of your life. Add it to your batting average, because that becomes your overall score in life. So as you said, keep going. You can't just think about that one failed pitch over and over and over again. So it's very important just to move forward, the power of moving forward. And he also mentions happiness is not to be found outside of you. It's inside of you. So as long as you keep walking, it will follow you, like the cat's tail or the kitten's tail, right? So it's always, always, always inside of you. So think of the different seeds of prosperity that already exists in you. So yeah, absolutely. This book, I can't stress enough again how important that this is the manual for this year. Yes. So I wanted to further mention that to be truly invincible in this life is actually to be truly spiritual, to understand that you are a spiritual being. Without that, it's materialistic, plain and simple. You become quick to go up, quick to go down. But if you really believe in spirituality, you believe in everything that was placed before you is mercy from God to help you grow. And the difference of people who see it that way and see it as punishment or, something that just got in their way to screw them up is they don't believe that life is eternal. So there's a real difference in people one way or the other. So please, when you think of things that go wrong, think more spiritually to get through it. I really believe that Master, throughout even the Invitation to Happiness episode, he mentions many times that we are here to train our souls, that we need to be more understanding of the spirit world to make sense of this world. So to only have this view right now is only half of the story. We have the other half to consider to make a final decision or judgment based on our life and successes and failures.
So you're saying,
Mhm.
I'm sorry. So you're saying, like, we're here in this world
Mhm.
to learn from it.
Yes.
And to everything that we learn here, we're gonna use it the next world.
Absolutely. Or even this world. What we learn from every moment in life becomes, as he says, folds in the mind.
So Master Okawa was saying, when we die,
Mhm.
our spirit,
Mhm.
we reincarnate again.
Yes.
And so we use this for
Yeah. As materials for everything that we go through in this world is recorded in our soul. So when we pass away, it becomes our soul's wisdom, and we can use it for our next lifetime as well. So no matter how young or old you are, I know one member who is so diligent about reading Master's books, and she's nearly 90 years old, and she said she's just preparing for her next lifetime. So how noble is that? How invincible is that? It's very important to think, not only are you studying for yourself, right? You're also studying for your guardian angels who are watching over you, because you share a consciousness. So if they have more material to base their inspiration, ideas, or decisions, you guys can help each other to grow even more and develop, think of doing two things at once. Think about enhancing your next lifetime. Everything you do is an investment in you. So if you want to think in terms of investment or liability, just to study the truth and further your studies in spirituality is nothing but an investment in you and your future life.
It's benefiting you.
Yes, yes. And also in this book, it says, please adopt a habit of looking for the seeds of prosperity in what you have and shape your thinking in this way. Then everything will turn into an opportunity. So you must shape everything, like, anything that happens to you can become an opportunity for something else. But if you think that was it, that sucks, then that's the end of it. You lost the opportunity to gain. So it's very important to look at things as opportunities. And everything that happens, it expands your capacity, basically, to understand. And the more you understand, the more you can grow, the more you can become successful, and the more you can help people. So Master, I think he mentions at least 3 times to strive to create more folds in your mind. So if you think of a balloon, right, when it's deflated, there are many folds, right? There's areas that are not filled up yet. And every time something happens, it kind of inflates, deflates, but you create another fold. But it kind of further stretches out the balloon and helps you to become bigger. And all those experiences will literally just increase your size, your enlightenment. So strive to create more folds in your mind is what's very, very important. And
That's why we have to follow the four folds.
the fourfold path.
Love,
Yes.
wisdom, reflection,
Mm-hmm.
and practice.
Yes, absolutely. And I just want to read quickly from this section. How deeply you can perceive and recognize your mind as a real entity, your mind as a real entity, will show your growth as a human. It is the true nature of enlightenment. Therefore, strive to develop the folds in your mind to be able to understand the feelings of different kinds of people. Going through hardships, human relationship issues, the more you experience, the more you grow and develop. So he says here, recognize your mind as a real entity. Recognize your mind as a real entity. What does that mean? It means that your mind is not just there, it's really everything about you. So understanding your mind is true enlightenment, is what Master's trying to say. Understanding your mind, you can also think of it as understanding your pattern of thinking or your way of thinking, right? So the more you understand your mind, the more you control your mind, is connected to enlightenment. So it's very, very important to see your mind as a real entity. And I want to next talk a little bit about Samuel Smiles that I mentioned earlier. In the preface of this spiritual message, Master Okawa mentions, again, I said earlier that he read this book every single morning when he was working, every morning. And he mentions that Happy Science helped before the calling of the spirit of Samuel Smiles. Master says Happy Science helps purify and master the mind while training the brain, which is really interesting, I thought, because he mentions how we're not a traditional religion, that some people think, well, obviously we're very academic, we study a lot, right? So we don't say just pray and everything will be fixed. Master says work hard, attract the miracles, not only expect them, but to be a person of effort and work. So I think it's worthy to note that Happy Science is a really interesting and unique religion. And I just want to read a tiny bit from here. That is why we have some aspects that are not, in a sense, religious. In religion, there are always aspects that teach us about polishing and purifying the mind. On the other hand, Smiles' philosophy-like teachings are about training your brain. By training your brain, you can work efficiently. This is also the great power in modern times. So this is an experiment to see that what will happen if we purify the mind, purify and master our minds as we train our brain at the same time. We are doing both. This means that Happy Science, we are doing both practical work and religious training at the same time. In this sense, I think our organization is quite unique. It may seem like it's not so different from other religions, but there are differences in reality. So it's a new kind of enlightenment, I think. Not only are we to become more spiritual, but we also must become more efficient in this world as well. And he further says, I dare continue to preach the importance of studying and making efforts. And I truly feel that Master is a person that is a master of efforts. As you will read and see in the movie Twice Born later this year, you will see all the efforts he has made to create Happy Science. and to fulfill his mission and how he awakened to it. But I really encourage you to read the book, the El Cantare in his youth, where he talks, or the book will come out to Twice Born, but that book really talks about how he mastered his mind and mastered self-effort to the point where he's basically guided by heaven at any time because of his effort. So by sharing that, he's giving us an opportunity to succeed. He's giving us an opportunity to be guided by heaven purely by making effort upon effort.
That book is now, right?
Yeah, you can actually read it. We have it. It's called El Cantare in his youth. Yes, I'll show you later. So to give a little bit of like a preview of what's inside this book, modern day self-help. The results of self-help are they release and express the powers that people never knew they had. Doors begin to open. It's not basically hard, strenuous, you have to make like strenuous efforts, but basically it opens doors to things that you already have. And Happy Science creates people who can help others, which is a very important point, because the power of self-help brings the emergence of many nameless bodhisattvas or angels. This point is very important in this book. The attitude of self-help will create more angels, basically, because you become someone that can be of service to God. Also, it is to truly understand that life is a result of cause and effect. This is important. You can read more about that in the Laws of Steel as well. There's a chapter called Cause and Effect, which is very, very important. But unless you understand that everything has a cause and an effect, then you're not understanding your own life and your own actions. So this point is very, very important. The true meaning of self-help lies in the balance of worldly values with spiritual matters. The true meaning of self-help is a balance of both. So as we mentioned before, and as we do every Sunday here, every first Sunday of the month, we do ritual prayers. And the mindset behind ritual prayers is both being helped by heaven, but pledging what you will do to receive that help. What kind of mindset do you need to obtain in order to attract that help? So it's very important to do what you can in this moment. Imagine yourself as an angel who has been assigned to someone, right? You see someone who's very lazy and just praying without doing anything, who doesn't have the right mindset, who has a really bad attitude. Would you want to help that person? Is it easy to help that person? They won't understand what's wrong because they haven't self-reflect. So think, when you pray, how do you appear to heaven? How do you appear to your guardian angels or even to high spirits who really, really, really want to help us every single day? They're waiting for us to ask for help. But remember that unless you do self-effort and put your mindset in a way that attunes to them, you cannot receive their help anyway. So to do self-effort is to attune your mind to a better place as well. That's the starting point of self-help. So again, it lies in the balance of worldly values and spiritual matters. And self-help might sound military-like, but it's really an invitation to test out your many possibilities. I really love that line because I feel like we're just testing and seeing what we're capable of. We don't have to completely do an overhaul. It's just testing it out. So it makes it very easy to start and to try to do something. But now I would like to quickly do a short contemplation. If you can close your eyes. take a deep breath. Please calm your mind. Quiet your thoughts. And I would love for you to think of a situation, of a lemon in your life. And think of ways of what you can do to turn it into lemonade. So please think of a certain situation, person, task, and think how you can make this situation into lemonade. Now, for the second part of this contemplation, please make a pledge in your mind that you will make it into lemonade. Ask for guidance on how, and make a commitment to yourself that you will turn this situation into a situation, an opportunity for growth and success. Now please take a deep breath and end your contemplation. I know that it was very short, but I hope you got a sense of something or something that you can do. The can-do spirit is very, very important, and it will propel you into the future. So not just thinking of the idea, but taking the action to implement it. It takes courage and action, but you cannot succeed in life without fixing sometimes what's bothering you, right? It's really hard to move forward. So knocking out these things one by one, being productive in your relationships, even making a decision to not speak to that person anymore is a bold decision. Sometimes we have to do things that for that moment may seem, very difficult or mean, but you have to make a decision and you have to pledge and wish for their happiness and move on. And definitely that time will come around where you will both be enjoying the lemonade together. So please look forward to that moment.
Yes, I believe that. Because, for myself, I really like to say something like, people get me angry, right? And now it's like, I live there, I say, they need help, because now I'm happy science, I could see it.
Yeah.
They don't get me angry no more, because now I concentrate on the Master Master Okawa. And I said to myself, think about it. What he says about love, because they too having problems,
Yeah.
So you got to look at it in that perspective, what Master Okawa talks about love.
Yes.
And we have to love them too.
Yes.
Because forget about hate, or forget about disconnected. Just let them know that you love them, and don't do that.
Yes, always choose love, right? And Master says by, all these experiences, uncomfortable things increases our capacity to love. So even if it bothers you in that moment, trust in the end result. Trust in your love growing and just be grateful for that person, for that difficulty, because that just is added to you. It's a gift to you. So it's very, very powerful, I believe, to have a spiritual viewpoint of life, because you can have an unshakable mind. You can have peace of mind by understanding the different things that are happening.
I think, something, I'm happy to be here. I want to confess this, because before I was I said people that get into my nerves, and now it's like I'm here, I'm more relaxed, I'm more myself, not those evil spirits bothering me all the time, like going against people, and that's very dangerous. And, oh man, I'm so happy right now. I feel relaxed. I'm more myself.
Yes, as you said, you feel more relaxed, which means peace of mind. And you feel more yourself because your Buddha nature is shining through. That's your real self. The false self is the one that gets angry, that doesn't understand. So we must just, even if you don't understand, strive to understand. That will be enough for the time being. And just strive to create more folds in your mind. Strive to understand. Understanding is loving. So it's very lacking in this world, understanding, but we're here to learn that too. Don't be discouraged. Don't be upset that this world is still catching up to something so basic. But we're here basically to learn all of this again and again and again. So it's a real joy to be able to have this experience, to be born and go through life. So having this kind of dojo mindset is
Like
very
that
important.
book that you're talking about, Invincible Thinking.
Yes.
When you show that here on the screen, about when you go to work, it's very difficult and a lot of challenges that put on you. Like in business, in the office, and people, be like, they're crushing down because the boss is on top of them, and their mind start like bugging down.
Yes.
He said, the boss is on top of me, my wife is on top of me, I can't handle this, and I believe the book is great.
Yes. And to conclude today, I really feel that the way to happiness and prosperity is through living spiritually, living more spiritually, making efforts, and sharing your enlightenment through missionary work. This is happiness and prosperity. Happiness and prosperity exists within us. It follows with the determination to move forward through difficulties and trials in life. So quite simply, I really believe that, we need to be more spiritual. In one of Master's books, Prosperity Thinking, when you can become more spiritual, you can become more successful. Why is that? It's because you attract the light and support from heaven, quite simply. So be someone that heaven can guide. Think about how they can guide you. Clear your mind, be pure. And in the end of this book, Master says, through prayer and love is really what will bring miracles in our life. Prayer and love. I encourage you to read this book very, very deeply and savor every content, every analogy that Master makes. And in this book as well, Samuel Smiles says that 2020, we're here right now, the golden age, is a time of basically hard work. Very, very hard work. And so knowing that, we're creating a new generation, a new era of course it's going to be hard. We're doing something like a major reset button right now. So study as much as you can. Become as spiritual as much as you can. Think about what's in your mind always. And you can choose what enters your mind, right? So please believe in that choice and increase your love and understanding of other people. But we are sorry I went over time, and I apologize for the earlier scuffle. But thank you so much. And, you know, through Invincible Thinking, I wanted to introduce other ways of thinking that will help support this as well. So please take the opportunity to read these 3 books, especially this year. And you can open the new age with El Cantare and with this movement to bring hope and salvation to the world. Okay? Thank you so much for today. And yes, this ends today's Sunday service. Thank you for watching. And next week we'll do episode 8, the final episode of season 2, which is God's Justice. And then the following weekend, or the following Sunday, we'll start with season 3 of Invitation to Happiness, where all of us, me, Yushi, and Dylan, will be on the show. So it's going to be very exhilarating. We have a conversation throughout the entire show, so it's really, really, really great. Okay, so please look forward to that. All right, thank you so much, and have a great rest of the afternoon. Thank you.